All right, here we go. We are with Donovan Lewis, and Donovan is a host on the Ticket, KTCK, in Dallas, 1310 AM, but also 96.7 FM, and of course streaming all over the world. Donovan is a co-host with Norm Hitzges, who's maybe the most venerable and experienced sports broadcaster in Dallas, at least, if not the country. But from 10 to 12, Monday through Friday, Donovan Lewis. And Donovan also is an alumnus of A&M Commerce and the radio TV program at A&M Commerce. So we're very proud of it. Donovan, welcome.
Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Well, and Donovan does this quite a lot. He helps us out with our classes. Donovan, let's start off by saying, what's a good day for you? When you and Norm on a show and the show is over and you say, that was a good show. What's a good show? What makes you feel good?
I guess it's just informing and entertaining. I think that's if you want to have a broad scope of everything, I think that's a show where we all laugh, where we all talk about everything that we wanted to talk about. We have some fun, but we talk about even if we need some serious issues out there, we talk about that. So I think the last couple of weeks, I think after every show, I've kind of nodded my head and said, okay, that was pretty good, because we aren't afraid to touch on some of the issues that are out there. And I think that's one of the things I love about the radio station. They don't try to silence us or anything. We can say whatever we want, what's on our mind, and to have some fun, because we know a lot of people listen to us for an escape, and they have all the real world things that are going on, and they want to listen to us because we've had good times in the past. So that I think basically for me constitutes a good show, that we laughed a little bit, we informed a little bit, and we just basically had a good time.
So you want to entertain and inform.
100%.
50-50 kind of deal.
Some days maybe 60-40, 70-30, you never know. Some days you just want to have some fun and goof off because you want to, you want everyone to listen in to their friends having a conversation about some things that'll make them smile and take their minds off things also. So, you're basically right, but some days you want to have a little more fun.
One thing about the Ticket, which has been true over the years, it is a sports talk station, but you all don't limit yourselves to sports necessarily. It's just whatever seems to be in the wind on that particular day.
Yeah, and that's great. And I think they set the standard for that, because you had these sports talk stations of the past, and it was just telling you about everything going on in sports, and that was it. And they call it guy talk, but I don't even necessarily think it's guy talk, because we have a ton of female listeners, and I think it's just, I don't know, I think water cooler talk may be a little, lessen it a little bit also. It's just, some of the things that you would sit around and talk with your buddies about, that will do the same thing. And people identify with that so much that sometimes when we have those serious issues, you don't get a lot of feedback. But then you can have us talk about gum or fruit. Today we had our segment where we power ranked the romantic comedies. We power ranked rom-coms, and you get so much feedback on that, because people have all seen rom-coms and they love it, and they want to give their opinion about it also. So it's amazing what you get the feedback on, and sometimes the more fun topics are the ones that people want to talk about the most.
What's a typical day for you like? And people think you just walk in and do your 2 hours and that's it. But talk a little bit about what goes into preparing for those 2 hours.
Well, the day starts, I usually wake up about 6:15 or so, and just kind of start scrolling Twitter and other news sources to try to see what type of subjects we want to talk about today. We usually talk, Norm and I, we'll talk about 9:15-ish to put everything on the table that we have. And then we decide what's the best 5 segments for the day. And then afterwards, I give myself a little time to not even worry about the show and not think about it. But then probably around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's right back at it. You're trying to see what you want to talk about. You're formulating plans. You're trying to grab audio that you want to play the next day. You're going over stories. So it may only be 2 hours on the air, but it is pretty much a 24/7 type of thing because of what we do. And because of some subjects, you'll say, oh my gosh, I think I want to talk about that on the air, or something to click to you, say, okay, that could be a subject of for the show. So yeah, the 2 hours are the meat, but the preparation pretty much lasts the entire day as far as trying to gather things of what you want to talk about.
We have a lot of students who are interested in podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you all are involved in your traditional AM and FM radio broadcasting, but you're streaming as well. You're
Sure.
available on demand. But what do you think about podcasting? I'm sure you all you do some podcast of one sort or another, don't you, on your website?
Yeah, we do have clips of our shows that are available. We call that podcasting. We do have a couple of guys that are regular podcasters, and I've been on several different podcasts as a guest. I love it. I think it's one of the things that's available now that wasn't available when I was in school, and you can get reps, and that helps a ton as far as getting to practice. And there are times where you have to maybe put a podcast out there, listen to it, critique yourself so you can get better further on down the road. So I always believe that if that opportunity is available for people, take it, because practice runs are the best runs. I wish podcasting was available when I was in school. Yeah. I definitely would have done that, especially if it's a topic that you love. So that means you're more passionate about it. So when you do that, you get better at broadcasting when you podcast. And even if you have one subscriber at first, don't fret it. It's all about you and you getting better at doing this broadcasting thing. So the better you get, the more comfortable you are, the better it's going to sound. So I'm all in favor of it. To get those reps, get yourself more comfortable behind the mic and your subject matter and putting a show together and all that. And that can only help you in the future as you try to graduate from podcasting to maybe AM, FM, or even television. All that helps a ton.
Mm-hmm. What skills do people need, whether it's podcasting or whether it's radio broadcasting or television? What skills do you need to develop?
Well, that's a great question, because and I think you know this because I say this every time I'm with you. I think a lot of times that when you make yourself available and you get a job, they can kind of teach you what you need to know in order for you to succeed. But you do have to go into it with some sort of skill to let them know that you are a hard worker and you're available to learn. So you have the ability to retain information, to organize information. You need to probably have a sense of what people want to hear about. I think that's the most important thing, because sometimes what may be important to you may not be important to a lot of other people, but how you deliver that message may make it important for them also. So that's that balance that you have to find, to where I think something is great. If I'm working with you, you may not think it's great at all, but I need to present it in a way to you to make you interested in it, whether you were interested in it before or not. So I think that's a really important skill that I think is kind of overlooked, because I can love NBA basketball and you don't too much care for it, but you're listening to me talk about it. So I need to present it to you in a way that will A, interest you, B, inform you, and C, will make you say, you know what? I wasn't thinking about it in the past. Maybe I'll check it out because I heard Donovan talking about it this way, and maybe that'll start interesting me. So it being an interest to me. So it's one of those skills that I don't think can be taught, that it's learned. And that's why I think the podcast is important, because if I'm listening to a podcast about gaming, I know nothing about gaming. I don't play video games or anything, but you could present it to me in a way that interests me. So I may not start playing, but I'm interested in listening to you talk about it. And that's a skill that is so important that a lot of people, I think it just sometimes it happens, and people start trusting you and giving and delivering information that they might not know about, that they know that you know about, and delivering the truth that works wonders. And I think that keeps people listening, even if it's a subject they don't care about. I
want to keep this fairly short, so I'm going to kind of summarize what I know about how you got started.
Okay.
I did ask you a particular thing about it. Donovan started as a broadcasting student at what was then East Texas State.
Right.
And doing high school football broadcasting for KETR. And then your dad, was it, that knew Bob Ray Sanders?
My uncle. I had an uncle that knew
An
Bob
uncle
Ray Sanders,
at,
set up a
at
lunch.
KLIF, and that helped you get that first job, which was a board operator type job, and maybe working overnights. But my point here is you have worked your way up. You
Right.
started at a fairly low level, but you have taken advantage of every opportunity along the way to get to where you are now.
Yes, sir. It's I think a lot of people that go into this business, and I think you know this truly, Doc, is that they have a passion for it, and they know how the road is going to go, and it's going to be low pay, and it's going to be smaller market, and it's going to be working your way up to try to get an opportunity to make it into big time. And that road could be long and winding and bumpy and all that, and it's been like that for me. But radio was truly in my blood, and I got it from the RTV program in down in Commerce. It wasn't in my blood before, but I had a passion for radio and a passion for sports radio, and I decided that, you know what, I need to keep my head down and do whatever I need to do to try to get to a point where I could be on the air here in this big market. And it happened. I'm blessed to have been a part of that program, because I do believe it helped a lot in order for me to get my start. And it's been fun, man. It's a great deal. And
you've been at it now about 20 years, is that right?
I graduated college, good Lord, in 93. So it's been 27 years in July when I first got the job at KLIF, board operating job. So, yeah, I've been in the game for a long time.
The board operator spins the dials and kind of flies the plane, but it's where a lot of people start.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Then you move up from there. And of course, KLIF is owned by the same people as the ticket, and that's how that came about. Donovan, I think we'll leave it at that for now, but could any student contact you by email or something if they wanted to learn more or get some more advice?
Absolutely. Donovan, DONOVAN .Lewis, LEWIS, at Cumulus, CUMULUS.com. Donovan.Lewis at Cumulus.com. I love for people to reach out if you want to talk about radio and how it's going. It's a little different now because of the pandemic and all that other stuff. So it's a whole new landscape. But if anyone has any questions, thoughts, issues, if you want to inquire about positions or anything like that, feel free to reach out and we can have a conversation.
Great. And we will put that up in some sort of text form so people can see it more easily, copy it or what have you. Donovan, thank you so much for the time.
Anything for you, Doc. You know that. Anytime.
Donovan Lewis with the Ticket in Dallas. And thanks for everybody for viewing and listening.